Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Shadow from TCG, and we're bringing you guys a deck list profile for Blackbeard that has been highly requested in the comments. But before we get into the video, as always, I always bring this up to you guys. Dueling Guard, if you guys want 5% off your guys' order, you guys could use code SGTCG, or the link will be in the description. And you guys can save your guys, a little bit of cash, maybe save on taxes, but get yourself some of that cool gear to keep all your essentials. But without further ado, let's get right into the deck list. Alright, without further ado, with the main man himself, we got Blackbeard. Of course, got the alt art. This was my first alt of the set. Such a great alt. I love it. We all know what he does. All of my on plays are negated, and each turn I can pitch a card to negate my opponent's on play abilities. So this is basically what the whole deck revolves around, is negating on plays, kind of making it more difficult for your opponent. Going into the first card of the deck, obviously we do run the Lafitte, which is our searcher for the deck. Rest this character with 1 Don, search the top 5 for Blackbeard Pirates. I also like to call this card a pseudo blocker, because the moment that it turns sideways after a search, your opponent's going to want to get rid of it, because I'm plussing 1 card in hand. If this sticks for a turn after I search, the next turn I can just pay a Don and I'm getting a free card, and I'm going up 2 cards that turn. And Blackbeard, it's always very low on hand size, so that's why they try to pressure to not let you get there. So a pseudo blocker as well is what I like to consider it. Next card in the deck is another 1 cost, is Stronger. This is one of the 2Ks that I run in the deck. Don't run many. You're gonna see here. It's got an activate main ability of, you may trash this card and 1 other card from your hand, and you can give something -2 cost and you draw a card. So you basically are replacing the card that you just trashed into the deck. It's good for if you have no other form of reduction at that time, because your only form of reductions are 2 other character cards, and if you don't have them and you need to get something in range for a black hole or finger pistol, this is always my last resort. If not, I usually pitch it for stage ability or leader ability. Sometimes if it's real early in the game, I can afford to lose a 2K. So that's what Stronger is basically for. Next card in the deck is Vasco Shot. I'm running it at a 2 of. I used to run this at a 3. Then I tried doing the Bartolomeo and Mancherry tech, and I just wasn't really vibing with it. The consistency wasn't always there. I would either send the Bartos and the Mancherrys to the bottom, so went back to Vasco Shots. 2 of has been good. I either play them out or I don't. They're getting chucked for leader ability, but it's the only little chump block that I'm running in the deck. It's a 2/2, again searchable from stage, and Lafitte. So Lafitte can pretty much grab everything, because Lafitte can even search itself, which is great. It's like a Bonnie searcher for the supernovas. On to the next character. We are running 4 of .Q. This is a must run at a 4 of. This is essentially the only character way that we're using to pop bodies. Activate main, rest the character. You can pop a 1 cost. On KO, you draw a card. So again, this is pretty much a pseudo blocker as well, because the moment this turns sideways, when you try to knock one of your opponent's characters, they're trying to get rid of it, and then it replaces itself back in your hand because you do draw from it. So usually combo this with the Laboon and .Q Van Auger, mainly against Dofi. You can pretty much pop anything, or the early games for Ploofy. Can also be used with Stronger, but Stronger only gives a -2. At best, you pop a 3 cost. Stronger is really used, again, to pair with Finger Pistol or Black Hole. If it's not that, Stronger is really just not used for the reduction, but this is paired with the other cards. Worst case, you're swinging with it. Next character in the deck, we are running 3 of Shiru. So I used to run this at 4, but we made some cuts for the other card and the other tech cards. And this is just a 2K. It does have when attacking, so you have to have 1 Don, trash 2 from your hand, draw 2. This is a good way to cycle if you don't have stage, but to be honest, very rarely am I actually using this card to play out. It's always a 2k or I'm trashing it for stage. Nothing else. Not really. That's all it is. Searchable 2k. No more nor less from it. And onto the one of the bread and butters of the deck, my man Jesus Burgess. So this character cannot be KO'd by effects. So against Lucci, you know, Lucci can't pop it, Brooks can't pop it. Pretty much staying pretty good as far as the removal game. It can be trashed, but then that's where you pair it with your leader ability, where you negate your opponent's on plays and they are unable to trash it at that point. So very, very, very OP card. And not only that, but for every 4 cards that are put into the trash, Burgess gets an extra 1000 attack stat. So I've beefed Burgess up to the point where it's a 13k with no Dawn added. Obviously almost milling myself out, but that's the whole point of the deck, is trying to find your pieces and negating your opponent's effects by trashing your cards. So Burgess is pretty much a central piece, and you want to establish it before you get to your 10 drop. So of course MVP. And one of the only non-character Blackbeard cards is Laboon. I'm running at it a 4 of. I know in OP10 they're kind of cutting it out, but for now it's pretty essential because it does have an activate main. Kuzan's an on play and then when attacking, so this I could at least pop off right away. So if I can establish .Q the turn before, play Laboon out, Laboon -4 to one of like Dofi's characters, .Q it. Now I have 2 blockers essentially, because they're going to want to get rid of Laboon so I can't give reduction, or they're going to want to get rid of .Q so that I cannot pop or KO one of their character cards. So real essential. The only drawback is that it's not searchable from Lafitte or the stage card. But even if I don't have a .Q on the field and this is there, I can swing with it. It does have a 5k stat line, so no Dawn needed to start swinging. You can put the pressure on your opponent if that's all you're able to do. And then onto my next reduction card, we are running 4 of Van Auger. Same thing as Laboon. This is basically an activate main, rest this character, give something -3. So again, pairing this with .Q to be able to pop bodies. The only good thing about this card compared to Laboon is that on KO you do draw a card, so it's going to replace itself after it is knocked. Drawback, it only gives -3 compared to 4, but this is searchable compared to Laboon. So Van Auger has put in work, and then it's also a 5/6, so 1 Dawn, you're swinging for 7 and you're asking for 2 cards from your opponent as well. So very, you know, all these pretty much combo together. And then Lafitte is able to search everything except Laboon, so a lot of targets for Lafitte, as you can see. And then for the last character, we're on to the boss monster. We are running a 4 of Teach. This is a must-have 4 of in the deck. It is a blocker. It's got an activate main once per turn. You can negate the effect of one of your opponent's leader abilities, obviously like a Nami or an Anel, when they're trying to use their ability to, you know, keep their last life. You know, Anel has 2 lives basically, or Nami if they're win con for milling out and winning. This negates it and puts them in a different, you know, a tighter position. Not only that, but you can also nullify the effects of one of your opponent's characters and prevent them from swinging their entire next turn. So they are unable to attack and unable to use their abilities. So that's a good thing to note. Early on in OP9, I was still allowing my opponents to use the abilities like the Newgate and Shanks. Come to find out that they are unable to use their abilities. So yeah, what else can I say? That's a 10-12. If I'm in a really good spot, it's swinging every turn if able to. If not, you know, I could pretty much block anything and stun a card as well. So that's it for characters. We're on to our events and stages, and first we will begin with the stage. So I am running a 3 of for the stage. I had it at 4, but 3 I am still able to see it pretty consistently, and if not, Lafitte can search it. Not only that, but the next card I will show does find it as well. But this is an activate main, trash 1 card from my hand, look at the top 3 and grab a Blackbeard Pirates card. You basically pair this to find your pieces, and again, this is all going to beef up Burgess, because Burgess for every 4 cards will get an extra 1000 attack. So this with Burgess and then being able to cycle to find your pieces, they basically work simultaneously. So great card, great thing to search. I know Bello Betty has been utilizing their own stage, which is essentially the same thing. But yeah, so 3 of for the stage for me. On to the next card. We are running a 4 of My Era Begins. This is basically it's just an event card. For 1 Dawn, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you're grabbing a Blackbeard Pirates card with the exception of My Era Begins. It cannot grab itself. Whatever you don't take does go to the trash, and again, this is good to combo with Burgess because you're looking at 3, you're grabbing 1, you're sending 3 to the trash. 1 more card, potentially leader ability, that's 1000 attack stat for Burgess. So this is another way to find the pieces I need, potentially looking for stage or trying to find a Lafitte. But there's basically 3 ways to search in the deck for Blackbeard Pirate cards, and that's with this event, stage, and then Lafitte Searcher. With the Lafitte Searcher being the most beneficial for Blackbeard since you're plussing cards instead of losing cards. This basically replaces itself. So Lafitte's the best, stage is good, but essentially when you first play it out, you're losing a card. You're not really replacing itself. So on to the next event, and this is the only, like, well, not the only, but this is the tech where I went to after the Manchery Barto combo. So we're using a 3 of Tempest Kick. This is a activate main, not activate main, but it's an event card that you use on your main phase. Draw 1 card, and then if you have 10 cards in the trash, give something -3. Early game, if I see it, I'm using the Dawn to basically draw a card, cycle this into the trash, and trying to find into something else. But again, this is to basically start filling up the trash early, or I could potentially draw into something that's not searchable. But once we get late game, let's say against Dofi, 1 Dawn, give something -3, Dot Q can pretty much pop its entire field. Or Tempest Kick, comboing it with like a finger pistol, you're removing an 8-cost character off the field. So it's a great tech card in my opinion. I really like it. And more than the Manchery Barto. I am losing counter when you think about it, but I am able to find more options, if not give that reduction, because with Blackbeard, I am filling up the trash very fast, and getting the 10 cards is very easy in this deck. So great card in my opinion. I do like it a lot. Obviously next set, this is basically going to get taken out because you get Kuzans and then the Liberation. The next card in the list, second to last, we are running a 3 of Black Hole. I contemplated running this at a 4 of, but the list is kind of tight, you know, throwing these in and the Vasco Shots in. So 3 of is more than enough. 4 cost. It's if your leader has a Blackbeard Pirates type card, negate the effect of up to one of your opponent's characters, and then if it's a 4 cost or less, you can knock KO it. So if I'm playing the mirror match, this is essentially the only way to get rid of Burgess. So it's pretty important that you want to see it in the mirror. And not only that, but like, let's say you can also nullify the 10 drops ability to be able to blocker and take that away from them. It also has a trigger of negate the effect of up to one of your opponent's leader or characters. Let's say Dolphy swings with one of their character cards, and then now I am able to negate their leader effect, so they are unable to play a character off the top of their life. So very great card, basically removable. You could combo this with Laboon, Van Auger, or even stronger if you absolutely need to. But I forgot to go over the trigger effect for My Era Begins. Is basically activating its own ability, and Tempest Kick is KO one of your opponent's characters at the cost of 3 or less. So that's pretty much that. And then the last card that I am running in the list is Finger Pistol. It's a 4 of. essential. You absolutely need to run it at a 4 of. Main ability, you may trash 2 cards from the top of your deck and then KO up to a 5 cost. Pretty much, you can get a lot of the early to mid game characters off the field for Ploofy and Dofi. Pretty much removes all of Dofi's. And then again, you combo this with Laboon, you can get rid of 9 cost. With Van Auger, you can get rid of 8 cost. Tempest Kick, an 8 cost. Stronger, you can get rid of a 7 cost. As you saw in my Ploofy video, I got rid of a Luffy Taro, comboing it with Stronger and then Finger Pistol. So a lot of ways to do removal in this deck, but it's essentially how you see the pieces, and you gotta combo it. Kind of try to keep a hand that you'd be able to use leader ability, build up Burgess, and then play the 10 drops out. But it's pretty much the deck list. Again, this is pretty much what the guy at Nats ran. Pretty much just took the Tempest Kick tech from him, which is, in my opinion, I like it a lot. Ended up getting second twice at locals this past week, losing only to the Ploofy, and then I lost to a Dofi another time. So very hard matchups right now, but it is what it is. But if you guys liked the video, make sure you guys comment down below what you guys thought, any suggestions of lists or text that I could try in Blackbeard, so I can test it out. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.